Hi friends, my name's Tammy and this is my booktube channel, Believe in Yourself. And I just want to say hi. I'm so glad to be back on my normal video schedule of putting out a video on Mondays and Thursdays. It's nice to talk about books again, and I'm happy to be here. So y'all know this month has been pretty busy, and I did have an idea for a video that I was going to do at the very 1st of July. Never got to it, but it is talking about books with red, white, and blue spines. If you live in the United States like me, you know all about Independence Day on the 4th of July, and I'm very patriotic. So I'm going to show you how pretty those look. Red, white, and blue spines. And these are the books I'm just going to talk about. I have read all of these books. I'm going to be really brief though, because I have talked about them all. You can probably find them on my channel if you looked. So I'm not going to talk too much about them. But this first one is called Lucia by Adriani Trigiani. And this is a book that I put off reading for a long time. My mom recommended it to me and told me how good it was, and I finally read it a couple of years ago. And it's about this girl. Well, she's not a girl, she's a young woman, and she's one of the daughters in an Italian family, a fairly wealthy family in Greenwich Village in New York City. And this takes place in the early 1950s. And she is working in New York City as a clothing designer, and she's really doing well. But she's engaged to an Italian that her family wants her to marry. Their families have been friends for years and years and years. And he expects her to stop working and be a good little Italian wife and stay home and just cook and not work. And she also meets another guy who says, come with me because I can show you a lot of excitement and fun. And she would be able to keep her job and continue working. So she has to make a choice. And I really like this book, and there's actually a lot of humor in this book too. So I do love that. Nice, pretty red spine. I found that I have a lot of books with red spines, not so many with white, and somewhere in the middle with the blue. A white spine book, I've talked about this so many times, The Incredible Journey by Sheila Burnford. It is the story of two dogs and a cat who are up in Canada, and for different reasons they've been separated from their family, and they are trying to get back to their home to find their family again. And they go on this journey, an incredible journey, the three of them, to get back home. And just in case, I hope this isn't too big of a spoiler, but I don't like books where an animal dies, and everything turns out okay with this one. So that's all I'm going to say. All of the animals are fine in the end. I love that book. I've read that so many times. Love it. This one I've talked about all of these books, so I should probably stop saying this. But this is in the Alaskan Diner Mysteries by Elizabeth Logan. This is called Fishing for Trouble. And on this trilogy, I think the covers are amazing. So this is about, what is her name? Charlie Cook. She has come home to Alaska to take over the family diner because her mom and dad want to do some traveling, and we get to learn a lot about Alaska and the surroundings that she's near up there. And this is one of my favorite series because most of the book in the series seems to take place actually at the diner. A lot of cozy mysteries, you know, the main character is off running around town and everywhere else, but they do spend a huge amount of time at the diner. And I love her relationships with her employees. She has a best friend that is wonderful. The sheriff there in town, he is not, they aren't opposing each other. They work together in solving crimes. He doesn't try and shoo them away. He appreciates their help. And then they also are respectful and don't cross boundaries. I know in one of the books, he actually deputizes her and her friend and a couple of other people because he wants some help. And I really, really like this series. And blue spine. So here's another red spine. And this is called Murder Outside the Lines by Krista Davis. This is part of the Pen and Ink Mysteries. And this is a series of 4 books. It's finished, Cozy Mystery series. And this is another one of my very favorite series. In fact, this was my favorite Cozy Mystery series a few years back for the whole year of Cozy Mysteries. And this one here, I can't remember what the lady's name is. There's, you know, drawings on the front and back, so there's no synopsis on this. But, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. I'm trying not to sneeze. Anyway, so she is the manager of a bookstore, and she is also an artist and draws coloring books and gets them published. And so she's involved in the book world in a lot of different ways. And she's very good friends with her boss. And he is quite a bit older, if I remember right. And there's something that happens in the first book. She ends up being able to stay kind of in a kind of like a mother-in-law house in the back of his property. And she's there, she works for him, she's got some great co-workers. And again, this is one that I love because of the relationships. I just love how they treat each other and how kind they are and how they help each other out. Great series. And look at that cover. All of the covers of the books are so cool. And we do spend a fair amount of time in this bookstore, also in the home that she's living in on her boss's property. Red spine. Another spine with white. I haven't talked about this in a long time. This is The Trail of Conflict by Emilie Loring. And this was her first book. I think it was published in 1921, if I remember right. 1922 was when it was first published. And I will link a video down below where I talked about why I got into these books, how I got into these books, and why I love them so much. And a spoiler alert, it has to do with my mom and my dad. And so I'll link that down below if you're curious. But she's an excellent writer. She wrote romances, but they were not just romances. They were romances with a story, usually some intrigue, sometimes a mystery, sometimes a murder that needed to be solved also. And I just love her books. She is one of my all-time very favorite authors, and I'm glad my mom had these Emilie Loring books around. She read them and they just fell apart, and then I found a lot of them on eBay and was able to buy them a couple of years ago. And anyway, I love these books, and I have noticed that they have a lot of these books on audio. So you might check that out if you're interested. But there's a white spine. And then we've got another blue spine. I have talked about this one a lot too. The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. This is an all-time favorite book. A lot of people say this book is very boring, and a lot of people say they absolutely love it. It is very divisive. Is that the word? Dividing? I'm not sure what the right word is there. But I think you either really love it or maybe you just really don't. And I think if you've read this and you fell in the really don't category, you should pick this up again someday and try it again. There's so many great just life lessons, I guess. This follows an older gentleman in a small fishing village, and they stay alive by fishing and selling their fish, and he has not caught a big fish in a very long time. All of the men go out in their little boats every morning and come back, and he's caught some fish, but nothing really big. He goes out and catches a huge fish. I can't remember what kind of fish it is off the top of my head. But it takes him 2 or 3 days to get back to shore. And there's so many little nuggets of wisdom in this book. And I really appreciate that it shows that you don't lose your value as you age. I think a lot of people, and I think this is normal, think that as you age, you're not as relevant. I just think that's a normal human thing to do sometimes. And this is a really good book to be reminded that everybody is relevant. Everybody has opinions and knowledge and wisdom to share with others. Love that book, Blue Spine. So there's 2 reds, 2 whites, and 2 blue spines. And while I was looking around, I found some that have, whoops, are those the backs? No, I'm looking at the back. Red, white, and blue covers all over. And I have talked about these books so much. Oh my goodness. These are some of the best middle grade books I have ever read. And the first one is Dogtown, if I remember correctly. And then the sequel is Mouse and His Dog. And just in general, what these are about, this first one here, these take place in a dog pound, and these are dogs that are trying to get adopted out. Some have luck, some do not, and what they have to go through. There's also robot dogs there that people can come buy these robot dogs, and these robot dogs are programmed to do everything that a dog would do. And you can use your imagination on all of that. And these 2 little dogs here become friends, and they set out, they escape and set out to find homes. And anyway, they're just so good. And did I say who they're by? They're by Wallace West. No, that's illustrated by Wallace West. I'm sorry. It's by Katherine Applegate and Jennifer Koldinko. Let me put that close so you can look at that. I always list the books down below in case you ever want to go check any of them out. But I'm just going to show you. It is super easy to read. There's illustrations on almost every page. Okay, so some of these are not showing illustrations, but there are illustrations on almost every page. This is a really fast read and easy to read book. I know sometimes with read alouds for young kids, you can tend to get bogged down by some of the longer chapters and pages with no illustrations. And this one here, you will fly through. You will enjoy reading this to younger kids, and middle graders will love reading this by themselves too. So I really, really recommend these two books. And I was kind of glad that I just noticed them on the shelves while I was looking for these other books, because I did want to show those to you also. So anyway, okay, we've kept it under 20 minutes this time. I'm pretty happy with that. Yay! So I guess we'll talk in the next video, and I hope that you've had a good reading week and have something that you've been enjoying lately book-wise. And I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.